Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So some rather interesting news coming out of the heavyweight division. The return of Daniel Dubois has been set. He will return on June the 5th against Bogdan Dinu. But get this, he's going to be fighting for the WBA Interim heavyweight title. Can you believe it? After, let's be honest, not really beating anybody of note and coming off a one-sided loss to Joe Joyce, here he is fighting for a vacant interim title against Bogdan Dinu, a guy himself who has not beaten anybody worth a damn. You know, it's crazy really how the sanctioning bodies come to these decisions. Bear in mind, as of when I last checked, Daniel Dubois was ranked number 10 in the WBA. And I think Bogdan Dinu was ranked in the top 5. So how these guys are fighting for a sanctioning belt after their recent form, I've got no idea, quite frankly. But, you know, the fight in itself for Daniel Dubois, is it the worst fight in the world coming off a bad loss like that? In my opinion, no. I mean, you could argue that Bogdan Dinu would be the best fighter Dubois has ever beaten should he win this fight. It would be between Bogdan Dinu or Nathan Gorman. You know, we're splitting hairs when we really make a debate about that. But, you know, ideally, someone like a Bogdan Dinu should have been the type of guy that Dubois was fighting before he took the Joe Joyce fight. Because when you look at his resume before the Joe Joyce fight, there really wasn't much there to, you know, write home about. Bogdan Dinu is a guy who doesn't have the best chin in the world. I don't really rate his heart all that much, quite frankly. But the guy does actually have some ability. He's got some boxing talent. He was a decent amateur. He's well schooled and he does the basics well. Even in his losses to Jarrell Miller and Kubrat Pulev, if you watch those fights, yeah, he got stopped relatively early in both fights, but he was doing quite well at the start of those fights. He can box a bit. He can fight a little bit. He does have some ability. So the fight itself isn't really a bad comeback fight for Daniel Dubois. That's not the issue. It's not the issue of Bogdan Dinu, in my opinion. It's more so the fact that this fight is for a vacant WBA interim title. It just makes no sense that either one of these guys are fighting for that sort of title when we look at their recent form. It makes no sense whatsoever. But the fight itself is a good fight for Daniel Dubois at this stage. It's a good comeback fight against somebody who's not a massive threat, but at the same time not entirely useless either. Maybe what they're going to do, providing Dubois wins this fight of course, is then look for Trevor Bryan, who actually holds the WBA regular title. I think that would be a good fight for Daniel Dubois down the line. Then maybe Emmanuel Charr. I could see Dubois fighting these sort of highly ranked but lower level WBA fighters, guys like Emmanuel Charr, Trevor Bryan. I think these would be winnable fights for Dubois, but at the same time, Joe Joyce aside, a step up in competition. So I'm assuming that's what they're going to do with Daniel Dubois, but like I say, I don't think a WBA interim title being on the line is really going to help Dubois. Given Dubois' last fight, he should not be thinking about world titles right now. He should be thinking about rehabilitating, bonding with his new trainer, Mark Tibbs, and improving as a fighter. And maybe in a couple of years' time, we can have this discussion again about Dubois fighting for world titles, fighting at world level. But, you know, any sort of world title being on the line for Dubois, in my opinion, is way too premature. And I'm not sure it's good for his long-term development as a fighter. Because when you hold that sort of title, it basically means that you should really step up and fight a high level of competition, like genuine world level guys. And if I'm being honest, I don't think Dubois is ready for that sort of fight anytime soon. The Dinu fight's a good comeback fight. You know, if I was managing Dubois, I would have him fight Bogdan Dinu in his next fight, providing he wins that. Then maybe look at somebody like Mariusz Wach, for example, a guy who's past his best, but can go rounds, who's extremely durable, who's extremely tough. I think that'll be a good fight for Dubois down the line. These are the sort of fights Dubois needs, in my opinion, to develop and hone his skills. He needs a few of those sort of fights. And then, like I say, maybe in a couple of years we can reevaluate and then maybe step Dubois up again to the elite level. But yeah, I mean, I've heard about the rumour of this fight being made for a long time, so I'm not surprised that this fight has been made, but I'm shocked that the WBA interim title is on the line. I shouldn't be shocked, given how that sanctioning body works. We all know they're a bunch of fucking crooks, if we're being honest, but this really is scraping the barrel, putting an interim title on the line in this fight. And what's the point having an interim champion when both Anthony Joshua, the super champion, and Trevor Bryan, the regular champion, both of these guys have fought recently. Neither one of these guys are injured, so there's no need for an interim title. I understand the purpose of an interim title if the champion is injured or something like that. I think they do have merit in boxing if they are used correctly, but there's no reason whatsoever to have an interim title on the line in this fight. But there we go, it is what it is. Share your thoughts below. June 5th, Daniel Dubois versus Bogdan Dinu. What do you guys think? Peace.